When I first saw the Mountain Coast T1 trail shoe at the running event last year down in Austin, Texas, I was really excited to see what they were going to be like on the feet. And I think everybody in the trail community was very excited to see what this first trail shoe for Mountain Coast was going to be. Well, I've been testing them for a couple of weeks now. I've got some thoughts. Stay tuned to see what the T1 is all about. Well, welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I want to let you know that Mountain Coast did send the T1. They actually sent two pairs. So when you see two different colorways, now you'll understand why. But they are not going to see this footage ahead of time. They are not telling me anything to say. I'm going to give you my completely honest opinion, like always. Also, be sure to look below in the description. There is a link to go purchase the shoes. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's actually going to save you some money. There's a coupon code, 10%. Just put those shoes in your shopping cart to see that discount. Well, like always, let's start off with the stats of the Mountain Coast T1. It is a neutral trail running shoe, and there is some flexibility. This way, it's taken a little bit of torque to make it flex, but this is a shoe designed to go the distance, the long haul. As for the stack height, the rear came in at 36 millimeters and the front 32 millimeters for a 4 millimeter drop. And for the weight, I threw my men's size 11 on the scale. They weighed in at 9.9 ounces or 281 grams. Under 10 ounces is really a pretty great weight for a trail shoe. And finally, for the sizing, I would recommend going with your normal size, whatever that may be. Mine fit true to size. The upper of the T1 is made from high performance woven fabric and reinforced with aramid fibers that are 5 times stronger than steel. And in case you were wondering what aramid fibers are, because I was. They're a type of synthetic high-strength fiber known for their exceptional strength to weight ratio and resistance to heat and impact. Aramid fibers are often used in a variety of applications, even ballistic protection, automotive, and aerospace industries because they can withstand extreme conditions. Basically, it's the same thing in Kevlar bulletproof vests. So needless to say, this upper should be pretty darn durable. Mountain Coast claims this upper is breathable and fast drying. Well, I put those claims to the test. First, let's take a look at the tissue test. When I switched that hairdryer to low, the tissue came up a little bit, not a lot. And then when I switched it to high, the tissue came up a bit more, decently, showing it is breathable to an extent. Certainly not as breathable as the Mountain Coast R1 road shoe or even the Sportiva Prodigio Pros. Next, I really wanted to test the water drainage from this upper. So I completely submerged my feet on a run for 20 to 30 seconds, really letting water soak in that shoe. When I stepped out of the water, I could see some water dripping down the outside of the shoe, but I could also see a lot of water trapped inside. I would move my foot around and I could see the water level change. And it took a little bit for that water to escape. I think these incredibly tightly woven aramid fibers, while very durable, kind of limit the drainage a little bit and some of that breathability. So the T1 did drain the water, maybe not quite as quick as say that Sportiva Prodigio Pro, but when I ran in the shoe on the pavement after that part, I could see some water coming out and the water did fully escape. And I think the wind, the air, would help this upper to dry pretty quickly. So you're definitely going to want to pair them with a very quick drying pair of socks. The T1 does have a wider toe box and broader platform, really kind of giving your foot more room to swell a little bit during those long ultra marathons. There is a nice toe bumper in the front as well. It's pretty solid. It's pretty stiff to kind of help protect your foot from any rock or root impacts, and a good overlay as well on the front, which again kind of limited that drainage just a little bit. The midfoot of the T1 was plenty comfortable for my normal to maybe slightly narrow width foot. I had no issues, no hot spots, no rubbing. It was perfectly comfortable. This tongue is what they call their anti-siphon knit tongue, and it's supposed to repel water pretty quickly, and it is very thin. So if you are someone that really likes to cinch these quick laces down very tightly, you may feel those across the top of your foot a little bit. Now I tighten my laces kind of, a little bit. You can see on this one here that it has been tightened a decent amount. I didn't feel the laces across the top at all. However, I did feel the quick lace here once it was tucked inside of this little lace garage. I did feel that a little bit on the top of my foot. The T1 features Mountain Coast's tuned fit dual lacing system with both quick laces this time. However, I do really wish on this lower portion here that they would have included this little clip on the end of the R1 to keep those laces from kind of flapping around. It's attached, it's not going anywhere. On the T1, you have to tuck it back up under the laces, which when you pull them down tight is kind of hard to do, but it does work. At the top, there is another quick lace system here. As you can see on this black pair of the shoe, you can pull that tight. And then on the top, there is what I call a lace garage. And that's where you can tuck them down inside, as you see right there. However, I will say this lace garage is only secured on the bottom. So the sides are open on both of them. And so the laces can kind of come out just a little bit. I would like to see that lace garage secured on 3 of the sides, only open on the top for you to put those down in. I should note too that just in case you like the regular laces, a pair comes inside of the box with the shoes as well, so you can cut that quick lace system or disassemble it, put your regular laces in if you want. Moving to the rear of the T1, we have the heel collar here, and it's nicely padded. It's not excessive. It's a dense foam. It's plenty comfortable, and it gives your foot, or at least it gave my foot, a pretty good lockdown as well. And I had no issues with Achilles rubbing, any kind of discomfort. It was very comfortable. Overall, the upper of the T1 is very durable, and I think it's going to last you quite a while. I would, however, on the next version, like to see that little clip on the front of the laces as well, and a more secure lace garage. The midsole of the T1 is the Mountaincoast LightCELL foam, and it's a midsole material that starts with a PIBA hybrid compound before being charged with pure nitrogen to create a supercritical foam. And Mountaincoast claims that the LightCELL midsole foam is 50% lighter than standard EVA and offers 45% more energy return. That LightCELL foam is really designed for those long runs and to be a very durable midsole base that's going to last you a long time and kind of maintain its structure and integrity. You might think, since it's a LightCELL foam, that it's the exact same as in the R1. However, it feels quite different. When wearing the T1, that midsole felt cushioned but not spongy. It felt pretty stable over technical and rocky terrain, but maybe not quite as responsive or bouncy as, say, that La Sportiva Prodigio Pro. Now, the T1, like pretty much all Mountaincoast shoes, are marketed as like a long-distance ultra-marathon shoe. And I would certainly wear the T1 for a 50K, maybe even a 50 miler. However, the midsole, specifically the forefoot, left me wanting more, maybe more cushion for a 100-mile shoe, especially if it was a rocky course. The forefoot here feels very soft to the touch. I mean, I can push in and I'm not using a ton of force here. When running over rocky terrain, I could feel the rocks a bit. Now, it wasn't an issue because I was only out for an hour-and-a-half run. However, it was soft enough that if I was running a 100-mile race, I'm 75, 80 miles in on a rocky course, my foot would probably feel pretty fatigued from that because I would feel those rocks. Now, I should note though that the rear felt great. Felt plenty of cushion, it felt supportive. I just wish the forefoot was a little more, either a little more cushion or maybe just a little bit more dense in the front to give you a little bit more protection from those rocks. Overall though, the midsole of the T1 is pretty darn great for a 50K, 50 miler, and it is very stable. At least in my opinion, it felt very secure when running over technical terrain. The outsole of the T1 is Vibram Megagrip light base with traction lugs, and you can see that little traction lugs are the little knobs that stick out around the lug, and the lug is kind of shaped like the Mountaincoast logo. Kind of neat. Now, I think this outsole is probably going to excel on muddy terrain because, for one, it's pretty aggressive. 4 millimeters is a decent depth, but they're spaced well apart so where mud is not going to clump in there and kind of get stuck, and your shoe's going to get all heavy and you're going to lose traction. I think it would shed that mud pretty well and do a pretty darn good job. And Vibram, I mean, it's incredibly tacky. It is very sticky. When I got the shoes, I put them on, just walking through my house on the hardwood floors, I could hear it sticking. It was very, very sticky. When running on the trails, whether that was hard packed dirt, loose rock, big rocks, jumping from rock to rock, it felt incredibly good. Just the traction, it's Vibram. It was perfect. It was great. It stuck to the rocks. I never once felt like I was going to slip off the rock as I was jumping around. It left me feeling very secure and confident. Even when I got out of the creek doing that water test, it still felt great. I didn't feel like I lost any traction stepping up onto the slick granite. It wasn't slick. I gripped. It felt fine. Simply put, I don't have anything negative to say about this outsole. It's great. Well, the Mountaincoast T1 retails for $180 US, which is an okay price. Honestly though, I would probably rather see it around the $165 range. I think it's very similar to the Mountaincoast R1, which is $160. This has some different technologies in it. There's the zero sag. It has some other things as well. This has the Aramid technology and the Vibram outsole. So I would like to see it at 165. However, like I said before though, if you use my link in the description, you will save 10%. So then it's a pretty darn good deal. Just remember to add the shoes to your shopping cart and then you will see that discount. Well, the bottom line of the Mountain to Coast T1 is I think it is a pretty great first trail shoe from Mountain to Coast. Yes, there are some things that I would like to see improved and hopefully we'll see those in the next version, because I think with some tweaks, this could be one of the best long distance shoes out there for trail. We're just not quite there. But of course, this is all just my opinion. What do I know? Anyway, I hope this was helpful for you. And if it was, please give the video a thumbs up. That would be awesome. Help the video out a lot. Comment down below as well. Let me know if you're excited about getting the T1s, what you think. And yeah, give us your thoughts. Now, another excellent shoe that I mentioned in this review a couple of times is the Sportiva Prodigio Pro. Take a look at that full review on your screen right over there. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate you. Thank you to Mountain to Coast for sending the shoes. I appreciate you as well. I'll see you all in the next one.